Hi, Neil.
Hey,
thank
Neil.
you. Thank you so much for taking this time in behalf of Slovenian audience and also in our names for this interview and also for coming to us in January. We are so excited. Are you excited?
Yes, I am. It's very wonderful to be here with you here now today, and I am very excited to be in Slovenia. It's my first time, and so I'm very thrilled to have the opportunity to come and visit with all the wonderful people there.
Thank you so much. So, Neil, now we will take you a little bit into the time machine, okay? We want to take you back to when it all started, okay? I know that you were in times feeling despair, hopeless. I can still remember my times when I felt completely hopeless. But I can feel it in my heart that a lot of people in Slovenia watching this are feeling like this at very moment. It's really a strong feeling in my heart. So I want to ask you, why do you think that we need this kind of experiences? Why do you think that you needed this kind of experience? Do we even need it?
No, we don't. And that's the very first thing I was going to say. I don't think that we need this kind of experience. But I do think that we sometimes find ourselves within such an experience, and it provides us with a wonderful opportunity, a wonderful gift from life, creating the circumstances and conditions that allow us to expand our understanding of who we really are and to increase our ability to express that. May I give you a simple example? Many people around the world might make a spiritual statement, I am the light. It's a thing that people say when they want to inspire themselves. You know, I want to be the light. I am the light. But you can't experience yourself as the light. You can know yourself as a mental concept as the light, but you can't experience being the light unless you're surrounded by what? Darkness. So the only way you can be the light is if you're surrounded by the darkness. So the true spiritual student understands that the darkness in one's life is truly a gift in the sense that it provides us with a perfect opportunity, a perfect environment, a perfect energetic in which we can express and experience, announce and declare, become and fulfill who we really are. So the true spiritual student says, thank you, God, when things are going bad, not just when things are going well. And what's interesting about that is when we say, thank you, God, even for the things that are going bad, it sends an energy into the events of your life that actually transforms the events and changes bad to good as we move through our lives, which has happened in my life and which has happened in your life. So this is proof that the process can work. But in this experience of life on earth, I notice that we have placed ourselves into an environment of relativity where there's big and small, fast and slow, up and down, black and white, good and evil, and all these different contrasting elements that allow us the perfect environment in which to learn and to experience who we really are.
Wow, what an inspiring answer. Thank you very much for that, Neil.
You know, I lived on the street. I know what it means to have nothing. I lived for a year, not for a week or a bad summer or a tough winter. I lived for one whole year as a street person, what we call in the United States a street person. I had nowhere to sleep. I had no food. I had one pair of pants, 2 shirts, 1 pair of shoes. That's it. That's all I had. And I did it for a year, so I know what it means. I don't speak, theoretically. I speak experientially because I've been there. I lived the great American nightmare, walking the sidewalk, asking people, do you have a coin, a little money, anything that you could share? Because I had no food to eat and no way to buy food. And every so often, some person would be generous. You would think that people would be more compassionate to a person, but no. 4 out of 5 would walk right by me. They wouldn't even look at me. They didn't want to even look at me because they couldn't look me in the eye, you know, and walk right by. But they were embarrassed. They didn't know what to do. But maybe 1 person out of 5 would say here, and they'd give you some coins or maybe some actual folding money. Oh my God, paper money, oh my God. And you could rush to McDonald's and maybe have enough to buy 1 bag of French fries. And that's how I lived for a year. So I know I only tell the story because I want everyone who's watching to know that I understand hard times. I know all about hard times.
And you mentioned living on the street. Was that one of your breaking point in your life when actually everything changed around for you?
After that.
After that.
It was really after that when I got off the street and I finally managed to get a job, you know, and I found myself back into the stream of things, back into real life. And that's when I realized, oh my God, is this all there is? Get up in the morning, go to work, come home at night. Maybe there's something decent on TV, who knows? And that's it? This is what I'm going to do till I'm 75 or 80 years old or 90? And that's when I realized, wait a minute, there must be more going on here. That can't be all there is. So it was really after I got off the street and back into real life that I realized how vacuous, how empty real life really was, until I gave myself a larger reason for going on. I'm going to write a book one day called A Larger Reason.
Wow. Great title.
It's a perfect title.
Yeah.
And so that was but I have to say that my year on the street was a gift because it allowed me to see the contrast between being on the street with nothing and being in regular life with nothing. I still had nothing. It just looked like I had more, but I didn't have anything that was really wonderful in terms of a real reason for living.
Neil, tell us something. What role has God in this process? Had God in this process, your past process you were just talking about?
Was he the breaking point, this turning point? Was it you, or maybe both of you?
Well, I think that the breaking point was when I called out to God. You know, I really was so upset, so angry. Angry is the word. And I called out to God in my anger. What does it take to make life work? I can remember the moment I was calling out to God. What do you want from me? What do you want? Try to be a good person. What am I doing wrong? And sorry, I make myself cry when I think about it. But I didn't know, I was at the end of my, as we say in America, at the end of my rope, is the end of my rope. I didn't want to go on anymore. So I asked God, and that's when she showed up in my life.
Yeah, but you mentioned anger. When it comes to God, many people become so angry or negative, some of them even aggressive. Why is that so? Is the anger the main reason?
Well, anger is a very good emotion. It's what we do with our anger But anger is one of the 5 natural emotions. It's a gift from God that allows us to say to life, no thank you, no thank you, I don't want this. But what we have not taught ourselves and taught our children is how to use our anger productively, how to use our anger as a energy for good, as a force for good. So when we misuse our anger and take it out on ourselves or on other people, then we are dangerous and creating negativity in the world. The problem in the world today is that we have not only have we not learned how to use our anger, we've not learned how to use our love. We don't know how to use love in a way which creates joy and happiness for most people. Some people actually use love in a destructive way, in a way that hurts other people. In fact, it's been said that every act is an act of love. Even terrorists are acting because they love something. And they love something so much that they find themselves hurting other people in order to protect what they love. So what we need on the planet is a course, a class that we could give in every country of the world where people could learn more about these simple lessons in life. Gee, I wish there was such a class in Slovenia. I wonder who would give such a class if we could only find someone that could sponsor such a program, such a class. Oh, maybe you guys.
Yeah, you're right.
Message of God.
Direct.
Okay. The game is on.
Yeah.
Tell me, Neil, what happened? So we are in the time machine, right? So I know this question, when people read your story, they have it in their minds. I just know it. So you had your turning point. God steps into your life, or you invite him into your life. And then people ask, okay, if I do this, will everything then be perfect?
No, of course not.
Yes.
No.
Were you ever afraid again? Did you ever
Of
feel
course.
again like life is testing you?
Well, I don't think that I was afraid again in the classic sense, but I was apprehensive, which is a little different than fear. But no, everything doesn't become perfect overnight. But we can find peace overnight. We can find peace overnight. And peace is not achieved when everything changes. Peace is achieved when I change, when how I look at everything that's happening in life in a different way, in a new way, in a radically evolved way that allows me to use what's occurring in life as a wonderful gift, as I said at the beginning, as a wonderful opportunity. And then that change in me changes the energy that projects from me into the world. And the energy that is sent by me to the world begins to impact the world and touches the world in a way that actually changes the exterior events.
There's many people that are searching peace at their partners, in other people, in wrong direction, right? You have to find it, create it in yourself first, and then you express it on the outside to the other people, right?
Yes, but you know what's interesting about that? The fastest way I have found to find it inside is to find it in another person. It's interesting. Because every time I find it in myself, I deny it. For example, I deny how wonderful and how sweet and how kind and how generous I am. Even when I tell myself that, my mind goes, no, you're not. You're just making that all up. I know who you really, my mind says, I know all the bad things about you. And so I can't believe that I'm as wonderful as I really am. But when I look at you, I can see, oh, what a nice guy. I bet everybody who knows you says that you're a nice guy, a nice man, a good person. And, well, she thinks that you are. She may be a little bit biased, she may be a little prejudiced, but probably other people think that you are as well. And so I can see in you what I do not see in me. And so that's the fastest way for me to get in touch with what I really am, is to see what other people really are, and then to treat them that way, to treat you as the nice person that you are. And then I can maybe get to a point where I can treat myself the same way. Or as Jesus said, do unto others as you would have it done unto you.
Thank you for those words. They're touching, right? I'm crying first time in front of the cameras.
We will use that, don't worry.
Neil, let's talk about relationships. They seem to be so important nowadays. How about people around you at your time of despair in the past? Did you have anybody, or did people leave you without support in the time when you most needed it? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
I didn't have anybody really. My father had passed on. I really didn't have anybody. My friends, my marriage had crashed, dissolved. So my ex-wife, she's a lovely person, but she was not able to be there for me. I was all alone, really. I didn't have anybody. I was alone on the street, and when I finally got off the street, I was alone in the little apartment, little house that I found. That's really why I turned to God, because I had no one. I was all by myself. But we don't have to wait until we're all by ourselves. We don't have to wait until we're all alone to turn to God. And that's my message to the world. Don't wait until there's no one else. Honestly, I was ready to just not play anymore. I said to God, I don't want to play anymore. I was really thinking about ending the journey. And then God turned to the angels and said, oh my gosh, a world without Neil? Somebody do something.
Right now.
And then all the angels said, not me. I'm not going down there with that guy. So God said, guess I have to do it myself. And so she came down and paid me a visit.
That's amazing. For the finish line, okay, we will talk a lot about relationships in Slovenia. That is the main subject in our country. So help is on the way. But I want to ask you, now we are wrapping it up, I want to ask you something else. Why would you take yourself to your own seminar?
So that I could remind myself of what I already know. You see, knowing something is not enough. I don't have any idea that the people who come to the seminar don't know what I'm going to say. They're all going to be sitting there going, See, no surprises. No one is going to be in the audience going, I never thought of that. They're all going to go, I already know that. But to be reminded of what we already know and inspired to live into what we already know, to be encouraged to step into the living and the demonstration of what we all already know. That's why I would go to my own seminar, to get myself motivated. You know, Neil, why don't you walk your talk? Why don't you actually act as if you already know this? Because you already know this. So I want to invite you to live it. That's why I would go to the seminar. The seminar is not about telling people brand new information. It's about reminding us. And that's why people go to the seminar, because their soul will lead them there. Say, you really want to go to this, because you're not going to hear anything new, but you're going to hear it as if you're hearing it for the first time, because it's going to be a big reminder of what you already know.
I'm coming.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
I'm coming. We're both coming.
So thank you so much. Neil, we wanted to give you, in the name of Slovenian audience, something really special to you. This is your book, When Everything Changes, Change Everything, in Slovenian language. Okay, for your home collection, and it will remind you of the hearts of all the Slovenian people that is waiting for you.
Gosh, thank you very much. That's so beautiful.
Yes.
I'm really very excited to have this. And this is a very powerful book, by the way.
I know.
It's a very important book for people to read, because it tells them how to deal with change in our lives, which is the main experience of life for everyone. Just one change, one change after the other. But no one ever teaches us in school how to deal with that. So I'm very happy that this book was written, and I'm very happy to have a copy of it in your language. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Neil, for this conversation.